Hi, I'm Phil Rowley and welcome to today's Outcast video tip. On today's tip, I'm going to show you how to store your rods efficiently and effectively on your float tube or your pontoon boat. When I fly fish lakes, I love fishing out of a float tube or a pontoon boat. But when you compare it to rivers and streams, the choices of lines you have at your disposal is far more. I always like to have at least 2, sometimes 3 rods rigged and ready to go. Today, I'm going to show you how to take these rigged and ready rods and store them safely and efficiently on your float tube or your pontoon boat. Okay, Phil, you've convinced me. I'm going to bring more than 1 rod on the water with me today. But which ones? Let me give you my thought process. Check Google, social media, do a little pre-trip research. Rely on your past experiences. What worked on that lake if you visited it before? What time of the year is it? What hatches are you most likely to encounter? If you see other anglers on the shoreline, have a chat with them, see what they're doing. Walk around the shoreline, invest 10 or 15 minutes snooping around to see what might be active. For example, today I'm going to have 2 rods rigged. One with a strike indicator setup that allows me to fish the shallow waters around the edges. The other is going to be a clear intermediate line that allows me to fish at different depths, different retrieves using a variety of patterns. So let me show you how to store your rods on a pontoon boat. You have a little more real estate than you do on a float tube, and you've also got the added benefit of adding a Scotty rod holder. So let's go through it. First of all, I could store a rod right beside the seat, like so, making sure it's on the deck, it's secure, and of course, always having your umbilical cord, wrap that around the blank, like so, so it's nice and tight, and your rod is locked in place, so if it slides out, it's not going anywhere. Your second option is, of course, the seat pocket. So I can just tuck this in here, like so, and draw the zippers down a little bit. And then I would just, in this case, I'll unhook this umbilical cord and just wrap it around or clip it on the reel or just secure it in some manner that you feel that rod is not going anywhere and your rod is stowed away. And of course, the third option is your rod holder. Now for the rod holder, you need to take any reel covers off because this is designed to work with the reel exposed. So I've undone the strap. I place the rod in like so, rotate it, and then lock it in place, and we're good to go. And of course, with these frame pontoon boats, I could add multiple rod holders if I wanted. The important thing to note is all of my rods are stored on the left-hand side. I'm a right-handed caster that keeps my rods away from any errant cats. Of course, if you're left-handed, it would be completely the opposite. But there you go, 3 ways to store your rods on a pontoon boat. So let me show you how to store your rods on a float tube. The first thing you'll notice, obviously, is you don't have the real estate for rod storage that you do on a pontoon boat. But there's still 3 locations I use most often. First of all, I can just take my rod, lift up the securing strap here, tuck it in the seat beside me, place it like so, take my umbilical cord, wrap it around the blank. It's locked in place, it's secure. I can even hold it with a little leg pressure. I feel it there like I'd feel my smartphone or my wallet. Another location is in your pocket. So I pull the zipper open, insert the rod into the pocket, draw the rod tight. Again, I would take my umbilical cord, and you can always have more than 1 umbilical cord, and wrap it around for added security, and lock it in place. I'm doing this on the left-hand side of the float tube because I'm a right-handed caster. So if one of these rods is not in use, my casting is going to be on this side. It's going to stay out of trouble. You also want to remember, you can certainly do this with a rod fully assembled, but you've got to watch your angle because you don't want that rod tip to dig in behind you. It could accidentally flip the rod out or worse, break the rod tip. The other location, and I'll show you with this rod, is across your apron. So I'm going to pull it out of the pocket, like so. I'm going to lift the strap up on the apron just to gain access. I'm going to slide it underneath and across onto the other side of the float tube, lock it in place. I've got another umbilical cord. I'm going to wrap it around the blank, clip it, and away you go. So there you have it. It's easy to store. your rods in 3 different locations: across the apron, tucked in beside you, or in a pocket. Always remember to use your umbilical cord. You can never have enough umbilical cords. So let me show you how I take this fully assembled setup, in this case my strike indicator rod, and turn it into a nice, neat, compact, storable setup. First thing I'm going to do is I've disengaged the indicator. I'm now going to take my fly that's on the stripping guide, loop it from around the rod. I'm going to reel this in until that indicator hits the tip top. I'm then going to take the rod, fold it in half, bringing the tip to the butt section, and just reel it in. If I have to adjust length, I do it by pulling off the reel and then reeling in the slack, so I don't put any stress on the rod tip. I then grab my fly and hook it on the nearest guide I can. So in this case, the stripping guide seems to be perfect. Then I need to secure the ends of the rod opposite to the reel. So I have 3 options to do this. I have a rubber band, I have a hair band, and I have a rod sock. Let me show you how I do it with the hair band first. I literally take the rod at the opposite ends, twist the hair band around a couple, 3 times. Those are secure. So now I take the reel pouch, open it up, put the reel into the reel pouch, fold the flap around, attach it to the Velcro. Your rod is stowed neatly, ready to go if you want to deploy it again, and the rod tip is protected. Let me show you how I do it with a rod glove. So I'm just going to quickly take off the reel pouch. We'll take off the rubber band, the hair band, because we don't need that anymore. So everything's the same. The rod's reeled up nice and tight. I take this rod sock. These are used for conventional bait casting and spinning rods. I believe this one's for a 5-footer, which is perfect for my 10-foot rods. It expands and contracts, so it's slid over. The entire rod is protected. The guides, the blank, the flies. And just like the previous setup, I'm going to put my reel into the pouch, take the Velcro, put it over, making sure the rod tip is just back from the butt, so it is protected. This rod is stored and ready to go. Well, as usual, it proved to be an interesting day. We started fishing deeper using strike indicators, then I switched over to an intermediate line and some streamers. Then we saw fish busting minnows in the shallows, so we went back to the floating line and no indicator, lightly unweighted flies. None of this would have been possible had I only rigged 1 rod, because I probably would have been reluctant to change those lines up to match the changing conditions. So that's why I always have a minimum of 2 rods rigged and ready to go, and I showed you how to store them so you can do the same. For more information on the products and accessories seen in today's video tip, please visit us on the web at outcastboats.com, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'll see you on the water with a couple of rods.